It's about that time. What's goody, what's goody, what's goody? Welcome back to the 76-hour podcast. We're here with your boy Yeen, as well as my main man's Now Stacks Jacks. How you feeling, my brother?
Feeling good, bro. Feeling good. The Sixers won four out of the last five. Got a couple of good wins against some really good playoff caliber teams. So yeah, man, I'm feeling good. The Sixers is looking good for now. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And yeah, we're looking good coming down to the final stretch of the regular season. So all is well, bro. All is well.
Most definitely. Before we actually delve into those topics, we do have to set a little business straight. If you have not done so already, make sure you actually subscribe to the YouTube channel. We
Yes,
are going to
sir.
be producing these weekly pods every single week until the 76ers win a championship. So
Yes, sir.
that's a good joint right there. I'm definitely ready to actually make some playoff podcasts. Potentially bring on our friends, Dewan, Yuri, Brandon. If y'all have not peeped before, like last year, we actually all like five of us made a actual live pod during the seventh game of the NBA Finals. And that joint got like what 1.5K views. Like what? So definitely looking forward to that. And thank you to everyone who has been watching the pod thus far. Um, Last pod, even though I dropped it late, I do apologize for that. We got like what 85 views, 80ish views. That's a good joint. So let's keep the momentum going. So with that out of the way, your Philadelphia 76ers are actually balling the hell out, as now just eloquently stated. They have won four out of their last five games. They were on a road trip for most of those games. Um, and they recently tonight, actually a few minutes ago, completed their third straight win against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Um, I wanted to first ask you, what is your thoughts on like this actual good run that your team has had? Everyone knows by this point that the Sixers have the hardest remaining schedule in the league, and so far it's been pretty decent. Of course, we like they like lose a few games headed out of the All Star break, but since those two hiccups, I think it was against the Celtics, and it was one more good team. I forget who. The Mavs.
It was the Mavs, and we lost to the Heat at
The Heat.
home.
Yeah, right.
But then we beat them on the road the next game that we had played them.
So I believe like out of those seven games, we're four out of seven, which is over 50%, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, what is your thoughts on the last, um, three straight three straight wins, specifically against the Milwaukee Bucks? That was a great game on Saturday, fam. I was not able to actually be home to watch that glorious game. I was actually I I, I like actually was coming back from Creed. And I
I still
decided
gotta see
to
that John too.
it was honestly it
It
was
was
mid.
ass.
No, it wasn't trash. I'm gonna give Michael B his credence because credence Creed. You should pay
No
me.
pun intended.
Dun-dun-dun. But like no, it was calm. I enjoyed Creed one better. I feel as though as like a movie fan, they should have expanded John Jonathan Major's character more, and then
Mm.
it would have been a better, perfect film. Not perfect, but a better film. Um, it was mid. It was okay though. Like I enjoy it. I feel like it's a black film. I'm a support a black film. Sue me. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm just saying. It was good though. Like if it was trash, I would say it was trash. But no, it was a good sports film. I enjoyed it. Not better than
That's
Creed
what's up.
one though. Creed two maybe. I, don't- I don't know. But yeah, back to the point at hand. Talking about your team. What do you think of the squad the last three games?
Last three games was pretty good. Of course, we had that really good one against the Bucks, which if you watch the game. It was it kind of looked like one of those traditional Sixers games where, we get
Mhm.
down and it's just like we may make a run or two, but then the other team comes back and then, they seal the deal. Middle of the fourth quarter, then the coach starts emptying out their bench, and but this game was a little bit different. I believe it was later in the third quarter. We were down, I believe, 18 points to the Bucks, and
Yes, we was, bro.
yeah, and
Towards
uh,
the end of the third, I think.
yeah, and Tobias Harris got hurt, PJ Tucker got hurt, so it
Mm.
just really wasn't looking good. But um, James, like, Houston Harden showed up
Bro,
when he needed to.
bro,
I think he dropped like 38,
yo,
36
yeah,
points or
dog.
something like
On
that. And
efficiency.
on yeah, bro, and that's been like the main thing, because even last year, like when he was averaging 20 and 10,
Mm,
like the 20 points he was scoring a game was like on like slightly over 40% shooting, which isn't really that great, but like he's really doing his thing, being a facilitator. The last game he played, he dropped 20 assists, you know what I'm saying? So
mm.
he's playing well within the system. I think Tyrese Maxey is really thriving in that starting lineup role, you know what I'm saying?
Amen.
So um you know
I ain't saying
but
it.
no, I mean, like, overall, it was a good team win because we were down the majority of the game,
Mhm.
and it seemed like the Bucks kept making all these runs, and they had this shooter, Grayson Allen. He dropped
Yeah,
20
bro.
points in just the third quarter alone.
From Duke. Yeah, that boy from Duke too.
Hit 6 threes in that third quarter, and every time it seemed like the Sixers was gonna make a run, like, they just kept draining threes. So, like, I was like, "Alright, it's just gonna be one of these types of games." It's the Bucks, they're a good team, but we kept fighting, we kept chipping away, and then I think we were down 1 point, or it was like we were down 1 point, I think, like, less than 3 minutes left to go in the fourth. James kicks it out to Joel. He's at the top of the key, pump fake, rises up, drains that
Better.
joint. I was like, "Let's go." You know what I mean? So,
Bro,
like,
I was in this like Korean restaurant, like downstairs. It was just like me, my girl, and like a whole host of people in the main dining room.
mhm,
They were like loud, but the guy who like worked at the front desk, he was cool as hell. So like he came to our table, and like he like changed like the actual
that's
TV on
clutch,
to the game, bro. I was
clutch.
yelling, bro, like let's go, bro. That that game like
That was a good ass game.
summarizes what it feels to be a Sixers fan. The highest of highs, lowest of lows. I was
Mhm.
telling like folks on my last video, which like was controversial, sure, but no, but I really thought that game was done, bro, because we were down by like 18, only 2 minutes left in the third, and I'm like, yo, I've I've seen this story before, yo, like Embiid's acting like a kid,
No fact.
um, energy low, play is low for the actual whole team, just because his energy is transferred to the rest of the squad. Why? Because he is the heart and the soul. I'm just gonna say that because boys hate when I hold Embiid accountable, but that's fine. It's okay. Look, he's my favorite player, but nah, like stop crying. Anyway, I really love like the fight that this team gave, bro, and I'm gonna put
Facts.
this win solidly on one Mr. James the Beard Harden, bro. That bro,
He showed
I'm
up.
watching that game like, yo, every
He
single
put the
key
team on
clutch
his
shot,
back.
like if like he like if like Bull misses one shot, we don't win that
It's
game.
clip, yeah, it's clip.
But Bull was clutch as hell. And I think it's a good jump going into the playoffs. Um, he might be back. He should be back. We'll see how it goes. Mac, you're like boy Maxi. I have to give
At
you
least
credence and credit for saying that like he needs to be
start that
on
bench.
the starting five. I see your point. Even though I'll say this, he's been balling more so with the reserves,
Second unit,
but
yeah.
I can see how like he needs to like start the actual game hot just to continue it. So I can give you that. I was wrong there. Embiid, he's Embiid. We're not going nowhere. What without man's clearly duh. But he
Facts.
needs to like start like just like focusing on the game more so. Cause bro, I was like yelling in the restaurant when like Bull came back, missing two free throws,
Yeah.
fumbling the ball every single time the man
He's
had
doing some dumb
had
shit.
had his hand on the ball doing some dumbish. I'm like, yo, take him out. Take. Why is he on the? Yo, I was so tight. Yo, like Embiid gets me so mad, bro. But it's okay because that's my
I
guy.
feel you.
I like love him. If you're watching Embiid, it's all love, bro. Also, shout out to the reserves. Jalen McDaniels had a put back dunk, which like saved
That was
the
important.
game too.
That was
Saved the
important.
game too.
Real
Our like
important play.
boy Niang hit a lot of clutch threes, bro.
Dropped
He gonna be.
16.
I feel like the the only way we are going to win a chip is if everybody is like playing well. If
Everybody
everyone
gotta
is
show
playing
up.
well, like
A
everyone
team
has to.
collective. So
So
George Niang can't choke like he did last year in the playoffs. He was non-existent in the playoffs last year.
because he can't defend, but that's the like league. Anyway, but with all that being said, the Sixers are currently sitting at third in the East, and they're only about like what 1.5 games behind of Boston for second place in the East. Shout out to Robert Williams on the Celtics, who like missed two clutch free throws after telling D-Mitch that he was going to
Who?
make all
Grant
two.
Williams, yeah.
Yeah, bro, that bum. It's like no, he's
He
cool.
said,
I
"I'm gonna
bought
make both of them." Yo,
miss
brick
miss
both
both,
of them Jones. Like I'm
miss
like,
both of them,
yo.
Jones, bro. Yeah. But yeah, talking about the playoffs, segueing into there. Take it away, my brother. This is the first time now is leading a segment on the podcast. It's beautiful. I'm like,
Yeah, you and me both, bro. But yeah,
yeah,
like I just really want to talk about the different matchups going into the playoffs,
mhm,
and as I said before, the only team that really scares me in the Eastern Conference is really the Celtics, and when it boils down to it, like we don't really match up well against the Celtics because their bread and butter is they have two dominant wing fenders who can both defend and drop like 20 plus points a game.
mhm,
And like with the Sixers, we thrive off our two-man game with Embiid and Joel, but we don't really have, two dominant wing defenders who can, guard, Tatum and Brown. But I feel like we match up well against the Bucks because of course, Giannis, his whole game is, driving to the rack and then kicking out to open shooters. And when you have Joel in the paint, he's like a very good rim protector that kind of neutralizes Giannis to an extent to where as long as we guard the 3-point shot, then we have to basically ask Drew Holiday and
mhm.
Grayson Allen to beat us. And if we're on our shit, that's not gonna happen. So I'm not really too worried about the Bucks, but it's really the Celtics. Tobias Harris, he's a okay defender, but he's not no, lockdown guy.
He's been playing better on that side of the actual ball though.
Yeah, yeah, he
You
has.
gotta give boy credit.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
What do
I
you
like,
mean?
like, I'm not anti Tobias Harris. I know a lot of
Uh-huh.
people like are like, hating on him, like, oh, he's
Mhm,
overpaid, which he is. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he contributes well. He does what he got to do, and he's
mhm.
been thrust into a new role, and he's been doing well in his new role, for what he's being asked to do. So
To do. Mhm.
I'm not anti Tobias Harris, but it's just
Crumble cookies. Sorry.
but yeah, like I just want to know like how Doc is going to make certain adjustments when because it does seem likely that we would have to play Boston at some point in the playoffs, especially if we
Mhm.
make it to the conference final. So um I don't know. I mean, I do think that we have the team to beat them, but it's just like we had like it's all going to come down to consistency. Like we had like we can't like not hit threes and, not have the bench contribute, like, what you're saying before. It has to be a total team effort. It has to be,
Mm,
like, so Doc has to get together his 8 or 9-man rotation, and, try to implement that within at least, like, the last 10 or so games of the season to get an idea of how it looks. But, I do like, Jalen McDaniels. He's a decent on ball defender, but he's long, so he can, interrupt passing lanes and, things like that. And we e have to consider going into like a 2-3 zone, against the Celtics, because I feel like our, strength on defense is, guarding the rim and getting in between those passing lanes, getting turnovers and going in transition. So I think that's something that we should implement when playing them, because one on one, we don't really match up that well. And I think if we can have like a decent mix of that 2-3 zone, with playing man when needed, I think we have a good chance of, beating the Celtics. And with Maxey the way he's playing, and Harden when if he needs to be Houston Harden, in certain games, I feel like he can be. If we can play that brand of basketball throughout the playoffs, I really like our chances against anybody, like even in Milwaukee. I think with us playing our game, we can beat them in a 7-game series. But
mm,
it's really just Boston. That's the
yeah.
only team that scares me, bro. Everybody else, I think we can be in a 7-game series. So yeah, like Doc just has to get it together. Like that's like especially if we play Boston in the playoffs, that's when we're really going to see how good of a coach Doc Rivers really is. It's really
So,
going to come down to scheme. We have the talent, but you got to put the pieces together, especially defensively. You know what I'm saying? And you know, something got to give. You know what I mean? So
yeah, bro.
gotta wait and see.
If you want to know how like good Doc is as a coach within the playoffs, just ask the Hawks a few years ago. But no, looking at the Eastern Conference standings, the Bucks are first currently. The Celtics are second. The Sixers are third. The Cleveland, the Cavaliers are fourth. The Knicks are fifth. The Nets are sixth. The new look Nets. The Heat are seventh, and the Hawks are eighth. So at this point, we would play the Nets,
Brooklyn, yeah.
and then the winner of Celtics Heat. If the season ended today, I agree with you 100%. I'm not really scared of none of these teams other than Boston for the obvious reasons. I feel like the Cavs would be a good matchup though.
I feel like
Um,
the Cavs is like low key frauds, bro. I don't like. I mean, like they're a good team. I don't see them making a run in the playoffs. I honestly don't.
I can't necessarily call them frauds if they make it to the second round. I feel like they're good. They're just young. They're like on the precipice of like being that next team.
I mean, we make it to the second round every year.
Are like okay, so are the Sixers fraud? Okay, yeah, we're frauds. But yo, see. So like this is what I like mean. Either you're like good or you're not, right? So to like, go back when we're talking about basketball players, obviously they're all good. But if they ain't tops, they bums. They bum. Thomas Bryant bum.
Yo,
Inside joke. But
yo.
what was I saying? I got off track. We would be playing the Brooklyn Nets. Who like don't scare me, but
They
when we
may win a
play,
game or two, maybe
they're
two.
they're like lengthy and like have like guard play, which always messes up the Sixers for whatever reason. Obviously, I think we would beat them, but I feel like they would give us like outlook when we play the Nets. Some dumb stuff always occurs. So like you already
Oh,
know.
thanks.
Not scared of the Heat. Not scared of the Hawks. Not scared of the like Knicks, even though they're like being
They are playing well.
they're,
I will say that, and they
they're
play
playing
hard.
well. I was going to say like Bulls is munching them, but they're actually playing pretty well. We
Mm,
played the Bucks like what 3 times I think, and we beat them twice.
twice.
Either that or like we have only played them twice and beat them twice. Um,
I know we played them at least. I have to look at the schedule again, but I know we at least played them twice. One at
yeah,
home, one on the
the one that
road,
yeah.
and we won both of them, Jones. So,
So
so
and I
yeah.
really want that matchup just because we
Mhm.
have yet to see an Embiid versus Giannis playoff game. That joint would be
that
amazing to
that'd
like
be a
see,
good series,
like
yeah,
you know.
for
So
sure.
and the Celtics are the only that always gives us issues. I feel like at that point it's like who gives a damn more. It's going to come down to that. Boston will clearly have the edge just because they're more seasoned. They also have the same team running it back the last few years, so camaraderie. And they went to the finals last year, even though the lights were too bright for Jason Tatum. Uh, but no, that Celtics joint would be a good one. Right now, I'm still handing it to the Celtics. Even though they're like what on a 3-game losing streak. Um, yeah, they're losing 3 straight games. So we shall see. But we shall leave that playoff talk for later in the next 8 games or 10, 12 games when the season is done. Okay. So for the last topic, I wanted to like ask you. There's been a lot of talk across the NBA media bringing up teams that have a lot to prove this off season, or sorry, during this post season. And of course, the 76ers name has been brought up time and time and time and time and time and time again. Personally, I think it's because Sixers slander sells more so Philadelphia sports slander sells because everyone dislikes us. We don't care though, a tad
At
bit.
all.
But but I was going to say do you believe that the Sixers have the most? Oh, wait, sorry. Do you think that the Sixers team has the most to prove this postseason compared to every other team in the NBA? I definitely will agree. Um, we have a lot to like prove. I'm not disputing that. If y'all have listened if y'all have listened to me the last few months, I've been saying that like this is the squad. It's either hit or miss here. This is like probably the best we're ever going. Well, not ever, because never say never, but for a while, at least offensively with Embiid. Um, but I would say honestly, I would say that like the Clippers have more to like prove because they've actually been like to the Eastern state, the whole Eastern, the Western Conference Finals. Everybody was on a jock when they acquired not Russell, PG and Kawhi, already crowning them the kings of LA. And they have not gotten it done the last 4 or 5 years. The Clippers have honestly flown under the radar, and they won like one game in their last 6 games, and they're
Absolutely.
supposed to be this good. So like, what's good with them?
I'm still gonna have to say the Sixers probably still have the most to prove. I do think that the point about the Clippers is valid because of the talent that they have. Like I remember when they first signed Kawhi, like on paper having PG Kawhi, like that should be like a perennial, championship contender each year.
Mm,
But they haven't really been healthy. Like I don't even think Kawhi played last year. And it's like, and even last year it was really their reserves that were carrying the team because PG and Kawhi was always hurt, so it's just like they didn't really have time to gel with each other and whatever. But I feel like the Sixers, on the other hand, we've in the last few years, we've had rosters that were full of talent, and full of high expectations, and we were always known as the team that comes up short in the second round.
mm,
Especially since that Hawk series. I mean, you have a all-star at the time and Ben Simmons, and at the
bro.
time, who was first NBA first NBA All Defensive Player at the time. You
Ruined
feel me?
his career over free throws, bro.
No
Over free
facts.
throws. Ruined a
And facts.
dynasty over free throws. But he's a bum, so it's okay.
Exactly, and it's just like, we let Trae Young and Kevin Huerter get to the Eastern Conference Finals before we did. Not even
Yo, that's
exaggerating.
OD, bro.
Not even
That's crazy.
exaggerating. That's
That's
exactly what
crazy.
happened.
Trey,
And
bro,
Clint
bro.
Capella.
No, Trey Young, Kevin
Clint
Herter,
Capella.
Clint Capella. Who that? What's his name? What's his name? Oh man, fine. They ended
John Collins.
Bro.
Got to
Ended
the
no,
Eastern
bro.
Conference Finals before we
Solomon
did.
Hill.
Yes.
Solomon Hill ended
Mhm.
Joel and Ben. What?
Crazy.
That's OD. But go
Exactly.
ahead.
And it's like we're like known to have like these great rosters. Even when we had Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, JJ Redick, and because of a lucky ass shot that Kawhi put up, you know, and who knows, like we had a good chance to win the championship that year because
Mm-hmm.
remember Golden State was hurt.
It
You know
was
what
hurt.
I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
KD got
like
like hurt
if
and Clay
we
too.
exactly. So
Yeah.
if we would have got to the Eastern Conference Finals, who knows what happens that year? And then of course the year after that was the bubble. So I mean, and plus like I think Ben Simmons was hurt. So I don't really count that year.
Mm-hmm.
Then like the years after that, with the Hawks, then we lose to the Heat with James Harden. So it's just like it's like we have all this talent and we do very well in the regular season. We've been the top 3 seed in the East for the last few years now. Um, you know, I think there's only like 4 or 5 40-plus win teams in the NBA, and the Sixers are one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we do so well in the regular season, all this hype, all this talent, and we somehow, some way fall short in the second round, and we can't get over the hump. And, especially with perennial all-star MVP candidate every year in Joel Embiid, it's like that kind of stuff, can't happen. Like, it's not like, we're just a good team and we have like a good core of players that just play well together. It's like, no, we have a MVP caliber player, a former MVP in James Harden, a rising star in Tyrese Maxey. Like, like we have a good quality team. And I feel like, the spotlight is always and has always been on us because of that. And it's just like year after year where we always end up in the same spot. So I feel like now it's like, okay, you got rid of Ben Simmons because that was a huge question is, can Joel and Ben play together? So you get rid of Ben Simmons, you got James Harden. You have a guy that gives you 20 and 10, and can apparently revert back to Houston Harden when, he needs to. Have a young
Mm-hmm.
star in Tyrese Maxey. You have a guy that's averaging 33 and 10 in Joel Embiid. You have a good perimeter defender in, PJ Tucker. You have a good, uh, forward player in Tobias Harris. It's like and this goes to what I've been saying before, like, are the Sixers still missing something? Do we need another star? Do we need another role player? It's like, what else do we need? In the offseason, we said, well, we need a better bench. All right, bet. Let's trade our picks. Let's get D'Anthony Melton, who's been playing very, very well for us, as a starter and coming off the bench. We needed more toughness. All right, bet. We got PJ Tucker. Um, we need a better version of Matisse Thybulle that can give more on the offensive end. Bet we trade him for Jalen McDaniel. So it's like, okay, what more do we need? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I feel like that's we've addressed a lot of the issues that we had in the off season, and now it's time to deliver, and we have to see what we have within this team, within this coach, within this organization. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like now is the time. I mean, I feel like we have the talent. We just got to put the pieces together. And because of the amount of talent and the amount of success we've had in these last few years, especially now in a harder conference, because I mean, I'm not sure if you like check the Western Conference standings. The West is ass. It's like Denver and like all these like
Yeah.
mid 500-ish like bro,
Uh,
like did you know like I think that like
the
the Sacramento Kings are a
like
half a
third,
game
right?
out of no
Second
second
out of second.
place. A
Mm.
half a game. The Sacramento Kings, bro, they always
Dog.
been ass. Demonis Sabonis, who I believe was an All-Star this year, De'Aaron
Mhm.
Fox, who's balling out, and guess who else? Kevin Herter, who was also on the
Yeah,
Kings now,
facts,
a
facts.
half a game away from
He-
second place. But in the
He's a
Eastern
shooter.
Conference, yeah, and then in the
Uh,
Eastern Conference, including the Sixers, I think there's 440 win team. So it's like, we're in a harder conference. We're doing well. We have one of the best
mm,
records in the league. Get out the second round. Let's go to the
yeah, it's
conference
time.
finals. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
it's time.
I feel like because of that, because of all this hype, and because of the fact that we intentionally lost games on purpose to become a better franchise, the spotlight is always going to be on us, bro. Always. And we have to do more than just, you know, getting to the second round. We have to get, I
Yeah.
mean, like at least get to the conference finals. Let's just start there and then we can
Mm,
worry about the other stuff later. But yeah, bro. I still think it's us that we have the most to prove because of this whole process thing. You know what I mean?
mm.
So it's time, bro. We gotta deliver. It's time.
I think that is an eloquent way to end the podcast. I agree. It's championship or bust. So
No
fair,
facts, bro. Facts.
fair enough. I'm going to leave y'all with a few stats on your team up to this point in the season. We are currently first overall in free throw percentage, second overall in 3-point field goal percentage, which is amazing to actually know. We have the fourth best win percentage in the league. We have the fourth best offensive rating in the league. We have the fifth. We have the fifth. Excuse me. Best net overall rating in the league. We are seventh in field goal percentage, and we are eighth in defensive rating. Just so y'all know, championship teams you usually fall in the top 10 of defensive and offensive rate ratings. So put that in your
Facts.
pipe and smoke it. I want to thank everybody for pulling up to the pod, and I hope you learn something. Me and Nile will be back next week. The Sixers play. The Sixers are like off. What
Until
2 days
I wanna say Thursday? Yeah.
till Friday.
Thursday or
Till
Friday.
Friday. Yep.
I think we
They
played the
pl-
Blazers, right?
the Blazers. Yep.
Facts.
The coming home party of Matisse Thybulle. So
Oh,
that should be a good
yeah.
game. We will talk to y'all next week. Much love.